Okay, blessings everyone and good morning. Okay, what's happening here is I went back to the tomb of Jonah. I have been really going into, you know, into prayer and just constant thought about the sign of Jonah. And when I looked at this and I saw the tomb of Jonah being blown up, which I'll just play out here. Okay. Here in Matthew 23, verse 29, this is what happened when I looked at this video. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees and hypocrites, and because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the scepters of the righteous. What? Scribes, Pharisees, and hypocrites, because you build the tombs of the prophets. The first thing I thought of when I saw this and read it was Peter. So I went to Peter. And I'm looking at this and I'm going, wow. Okay, this is deep. Okay. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, okay, they built this on top of Peter's grave. Some would say tombs, grave. Okay. I'm just going to read a little bit here. Although it is not the mother church of the Catholic faith, nor the main cathedral of the Diocese of Rome, this religious building is one of the holiest Catholic shrines, again, shrines, in the world. Many have described it as holding a unique position in the Christian world, as well as being the greatest of the churches. According to the Catholic tradition, this basilica is the burial of the site of Saint Peter, the leader of Jesus as apostle, the first bishop of Rome, which is the Pope. His tomb is thought to be directly under the high altar of the basilica. The old St. Peter's Basilica stood there. Okay, I'm going a little too early. There has also been a church on this site ever since the Roman Empire, Constantine the Great. The old St. Peter's Basilica stood there from the 4th century AD and replaced with the new, construction of which began on April 18th, 1506. It was completed on November 18th, 1626. So there you have the tomb of St. Peter. As mentioned, it is said that St. Peter's tomb is directly under St. Peter's Basilica, and it includes several graves and one structure. Now, looking at this, I mean, it just speaks volumes. It screams at you here. When you look at it for such a view as this. Okay, so again, this is the gate of Peter. Okay, we got these look like, to me, they look like some kind of a bug of some sort, half bug, something else, whatever. It's just very evil looking. And at a distance, it looks like something's coming out of the pit. And I don't know if these things blow smoke or any kind of incense. I don't know. But you can see little legs coming off of them here. And so they, to me, look like creatures. I'm just going to put it out there. They just look like these little things coming out of the pit. And then you know, at a glance, I mean, this looks like a skull. I mean, really, okay? So then we got the golden gates here, the gates. So then we have an arch It's not an arch, but an altar right here. And then we're looking directly at the sun. Okay, so here is the sun. Then we have like more or less the fallen angels over the seat, which is supposed to be for Peter. Okay, Peter's seat, which, who holds the key, and, the binding and unbinding and loosening. So then you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, well, it's built on top of, Peter's tomb or, his grave. You have the altar, which they celebrate and have masses and everything with this. And their jubilees, which is a lot to do with the Jonas god, the Roman god, okay, opening up doors and passages and passageways and such, okay. So here we have the altar, which they do all of these jubilees and celebrations and masses right in front of the sun. Now, this here that you were looking at right here, this just, you could see the bottom of the pillars here, okay. Oh, crap. Okay, so now we're looking at the top part of what we were just looking at here with the sun and everything. And this is called, for those that don't know, is a baldaquin. Okay, and it looks like somewhat of a canopy that you would see over a child's bed or, Okay, so again, a baldaquin. Now, I took a closer look at this, okay, and I was very surprised at one thing that I did find here. There's a lot of symbology here. This is their language, and it's important that we understand their language so that we know that what we're looking at, what we're seeing. Okay, it's not about, doing so much research on this and then going so deep into it. No, you just have to recognize what it is and then move on. You don't stay in one spot. You keep moving as a passerby, but understand what it is that you're looking at. Know your enemy. So here I saw the crown with this black cherub. There's two black cherubs and the goat. Okay? And it seems here what you were looking at is that the goat is now being crowned. And this is that 3-ring crown that the popes wear. Okay, so he's got it right over the goat, while this one here, this cherub here, holds on to the goat in position. The crowning of the goat. I believe these have a lot to do with the Egypt. We have the flies representing a face here, so we have the duality, the two faces with the flies. And then this does look like somewhat of, the two black faces here, and it looks like claws here of some kind of an insect. It really does. Underneath it, you have the sun again with the bird. And you'll be very surprised when I start talking about the birds and why the bird is so important here to them. But draw near hither, ye sons of the sorcerers, the seed of the adulterer and the whore, inflaming yourselves with idols under every green tree, slaying the children in the valley under the cliffs of the rocks. Behind the doors also and the post that thou set up thy remembrance, for thou hast discovered thyself to another than me, and art gone up. Thou hast enlarged thy bed, and made thee a covenant with them. Thou lovest their bed where thou sawest it. So I was really curious, and so I knew the relationship between Peter and Mary, and you're going to understand in just a few minutes what I'm talking about here, because they do mix the two together. They try to confuse people with Mary and Mary Magdalene. Now, others will say Isis, and that, I'm not going to argue. All I'm going to say is that I'm following this as I see it, what I'm seeing, what I'm looking at here with Mary Magdalene and the Virgin Mary. Okay? So I went to Mary Magdalene here, and this is the Basilica of Mary Magdalene. Okay? So again, there was some similarities, because this is what we're talking about, similarities and differences. We're trying to understand in spirit, not so much as what we are seeing with our eyes. We can read with our eyes because of what we are learning about the symbology, and it's been always here, and it is a definite language, So what we're looking at here is, again, the similarities, and we have this so-called the sun. Okay, it's the sun. It also can represent a mirror inside of it, a reflection. But we're going to go with, this is the sun. And as we go down, we see someone here sitting in a chair. So, and again, very similar to Peter, with Peter's seat underneath the sun. Here we have, again, in Mary Magdalene, we have someone sitting in the seat. It isn't empty. So then if we look, we can see the three mirrors. There's more here, I'm sure, but I'm just going to go with the three mirrors here as again, reflection. Here we have a canopy. Now this again is no different. This is the same thing as a baldachin, okay? Because a baldachin can be made in cloth, but it's got to be with an altar, over an altar. So I'm looking at that. There's, this is again a baldachin. Yeah, it's not so much as big as Peter's here. And then I noticed this here, and this was, where's the cap to this? When I looked upwards and I saw the square, I'm looking at the two black squares here. Now we understand that in symbology, in the arts, that this is the formula for nothingness. This is a void. This is nothingness. This is very dark, very black. It's just very bad, okay? And I remember Jonathan Kleck, he took his whole ministry and he threw it right into this little black square, which was the zero for nothing, formula for the zero for nothingness here. Okay, I would look into that, because to them it's very important. It's very symbolic, and it's very dark. So you have two of them here, okay? So then I noticed, and I remembered, first of all, I noticed that now on top of the cap we had the black square, okay? Just the way it's positioned. I also looked at it as being side by side. Again, Mary's always holding her head, right? She's always got the skull. Her skull is always depicted in her pictures, wherever you see, it's to identify her, really. Okay, so she's holding her head. Here on top of the cap, we've got the black square. Well, I remembered a friend who had sent me this at the time when the Virgin Mary, okay, her head was being decapitated off of all the statues. There was quite a few of them. And one was actually burnt, but I don't think that was the one that was done in Toronto. But the point is, her head was missing. Okay? They took her head. So then I remembered our friend there, and he sent me this. Look at that. And this is coming out now. And this, I can't remember when this was first sent to me. And if we look at it now, we're looking at, what is it, Mary's head that's missing, or is it Mary Magdalene's head? And then if we, and we're looking at the black square, I couldn't believe this when I went back and I saw this. My head was just, goosebumps, really. And so there we have it. Right there. So again, this would be Mary Magdalene and not the Virgin Mary. but they want you to believe that it's the Virgin Mary. Because it's Mary Magdalene. Again, I can't stress this enough. She's the one that holds her head, the skull. And here we have the black square in the white frame. It's very evil. It's dark. There was something also that I noticed about this, the Basilica of Mary Magdalene. And it was this here. First of all, again, we have the sun underneath here. There's the sun again here. And here, it looks like they're coming out of these cocoons. Okay, they're coming out of the cocoons. These children, these faces here. This looks like the rose, like the face in the rose, but here's a cocoon here. A child coming out of a cocoon here. Okay. An angel whose back is towards you, and his face actually looks like somewhat of a lion when you get up really close, but that again is me. And again, it's discerning. It's about discernment, you know. But again, this is in the Basilica of Mary Magdalene. Okay, I just want to show this again. This is Mary Magdalene. Now, this is a video that I found a while back. I thought it was very informative and very surprising, actually. But here it's about the Templars. And in the Templars, again, they protected Mary. They protected the bloodline. They believed that Mary and Jesus had a child, a young girl. I believe her name would be Sarah. Okay, so they protected this. So this was all about Mary Magdalene and nothing to do with the Virgin Mary. You can also see the arch here, which I'll be getting into, and the arch is of the Roman god Janus, okay, military. Okay, so again, this, you have the arch, the Templars cross, they worshipped Mary Magdalene. The arch is the god, a Roman god here, again for military. So I just want to show you here how they disguise Mary Magdalene as Mary. Because you see, Mary, the Virgin Mary, from what I understand, lived in a house, and it was built by John. Now it's either she moved in with John as his mother, adopted mother, or he built her a house. But I've never heard of the Virgin Mary living in a cave. This was Mary Magdalene who lived in a cave 30 years later, till her passing, after Jesus had ascended. So this is where she stayed, was in a cave. So it's Mary Magdalene and not the Virgin Mary.
Goose skin here, I tell you, huh? I would like to be walking or strolling around here tonight. I don't like not being one of them. Isis.
And then here we have, again, who looks like the Virgin Mary with the blue and the outfit, okay? And then she has the sun that you can barely see, but behind her, it looks like the sun here, okay? Again, this is Mary Magdalene. So again, here we're back here, and this is Pope Francis holds a special Jubilee Mass for prisoners. Okay. And then we have this child, this mother and child, where he's holding the chain, and then again, for the eyes to see. Now, is this Mary Magdalene, or is it the Virgin Mary? What mother is this? And this is the doom for the false teachers, really. Jude, verse 5. I will therefore put you in remembrance, though you once knew this, how that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterward destroyed them that believed not. And the angel which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he hath reserved it ever in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. So there's no repentance, there's no redemption for these fallen. None. They're only going to take and lie and cheat and steal as much as they can from you, from God's people, from the innocents, taking from the innocents, and the innocents not knowing what it is that they're taking. So they are under darkness unto judgment. Revelations 18:4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye may be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. Hear the word of the Lord, ye children of Israel, for the Lord hath controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth, no mercy, no knowledge of God in the land. By swearing and lying and killing and stealing and committing adultery, they break out, and blood toucheth blood. Yet let no man strive nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priest. Therefore shalt thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with thee in the night, and I will destroy thy mother. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, because thou hast rejected knowledge. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. They eat up the sin of my people, and they eat and they set their heart on their iniquity. Now I believe that there's a reason why they put these two pictures together. And they did this. I didn't do this. They did it. And so when I saw this, I looked at it and I said, okay, just the first thing that I am noticing here was the crown. The crown being spiked up like that. Again, I did a video not too long ago showing it was a bell god, a goddess or god. And it had something to do with bells, because this is where I found this spirit with this headdress. Hold on, I'm going to see if I have it here. Okay, so again, this is where we're going into the Aztec gods, small g's, you know what I'm talking about here. But this is all to do with the Aztec gods. Meet the Aztec spirit here, a spirit, okay. All right, and it was the crowning of this that I found familiar. Again, the skull, something in the middle here, right? And there's the crown, which also has a tail. Aztec, the bell symbol, that's what this was. Okay, so there's the, the crown. right here. Okay, so this is the Aztec spirit. Okay, so I noticed the crown. I remembered it right away. And then I looked here, and this is where I saw the mother and child here in the middle, in the square. This black, you know, it's not black square, but it is a square. Okay, and I moved over, and this is what I saw, and this is what I was picking up with this pennant. It was, yeah. I'm not sure if you can see it quite, you know, as well as I can, but if you go to the original, you will, you know, you can open it up yourself and you can see, all right? This looks like a demon face right here, and there's a mask. The mask has been taken off. Well, that would make sense because they're mixing the two Marys, okay? And Mary Magdalene is the one with the X with the hook concerning the bloodlines. So we have the mother and child here, and here we have the demon, the beast, taking off the mask. Now up here, which I'll be getting into, is you've got to remember that the Roman Catholic, okay, Rome, that would be the first rank. The second rank would be Germany, and the third rank would be Hitler. So when we're looking at one singular bird, okay, which would be the phoenix, I believe, or the eagle, whatever, this would represent Germany. The one would represent Germany, but they also have two, but one is specific concerning Germany. Okay, and this is what we have. Now you can't see it here, but if you go to the original, you will see the bird, you will see the phoenix. This is, looks like the hands of the phoenix right here. Okay, again, Rome. Aztec spirits. The mother and child taking off the mask. I'm telling you, these people, they just love death, don't they? I mean, it's all about these skulls. Mary's walking around, not walking around, but Mary, in all of her art, there's the skull, you know. And then you have the white squares here with the black in the middle of it. Symbology, people. Symbology. This is their language. Okay, here's just a few of the signs here. This is the Phoenix, the Holy Roman Empire, right here. And as you go down, you will see that it's German here, right here. Okay, in Europe, Germany. And so here we have Rome, the Pope, Rome, holding up this Bible, which has a coffin, which looks like to be a coffin behind the Sphinx, or the, is it the Sphinx? Yeah, whatever, the bird, okay? And again, this is Germany, right? And then you have the Baphomet, I guess that's what you would call it, right? The Baphomet inside the circle here. Right? But can you see the coffin here? This looks like, okay. But that's German. That's one. This is the first rank, Rome. Representing death here. In the shape of a coffin. I forget what you call this thing, the Baphomet thing here. And here we have the Pope who's praying here to an Aztec spirit. Jeremiah 17:1. The sin of Jonah. The sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron and with the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their hearts and upon the horns of your altars. I know I've read this, but I'm going to repeat this. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees and hypocrites, because you build the tombs of the prophets and garnish the scepters of the righteous. Ye serpents, ye generation of vipers, how can you escape the damnation of hell? Wherefore, behold, I send unto you prophets and wise men and scribes, and some of them ye shall kill and crucify, and some of them ye shall scourge in your synagogues, and persecute them from city to city, that upon you may come all the righteous blood shed upon the earth, from the blood of righteous Abel unto the blood of Zacharias, son of Barachis, whom he slew between the temple and the altar. Verily I say unto you, all these things shall come upon this generation. Matthew 23. And for a spirit of judgment to him that sitteth in judgment, and for the strength to them that turn the battle to the gates. And I say also unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Matthew 16:18. Okay, so now what's happened is I thought I was finished and I was going to move on. And I'm laying there and I'm just going over my thoughts and what I'm going to say. And I asked the question, I said, well, I wonder if the worm has anything to do with Peter, if there was any story concerning the worm and Peter. And this is what I found right here. I just found this. And it's St. Peter's Cathedral in Germany. It's a Roman Catholic church, a former cathedral in Worms, in southern Germany. It's 40 miles just southwest of Frankfurt, Maine. Now, this is right again, this is pointing to me, this is pointing right back at Jonathan Kleck, because we're right now back in his backyard. Okay, I've come to Frankfurt for a few things, and I'm back here again. Now, I know there was a few dukes that were buried in this cathedral. They're in the where was that? I'm looking for it. Hold on. Okay, they were buried here in the crypt, and there was about maybe 3 or 4 dukes. Conrad Duke here. Conrad the Red, Duke. Okay, so there's family members, dukes, and so on, and some priests that have been buried in the crypt. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with the same theme that I've been going with lately, and that's the similarities and the differences and the discerning and trying to, to understand what it is exactly they're saying in their language and what has been going on way before us. So, I mean, this really is an eye-opener for me. I'm just amazed at what I'm seeing here, okay? Just really in awe, Okay, so I asked about the worm. This is what I got. Okay, so we have the St. Peter's Cathedral in Germany, in Worms. It was a city, or is a city. Okay, and so we're going to go with the similarities and the differences here. So here, I'm bringing you back to the Mary Magdalene Basilica here. Again, I wanted to point out this stone right here once more. Okay, so when I was looking at Peter's cathedral, I found this. Okay, I found this same thing, and it's over a small little door, which you will find in the White House. In the White House, they have these small doors, and it's very interesting that it's all about the water through the building. It's about water, which is behind the door in the White House. Okay, they'll explain that. Now here we have the little door. We have, it looks like, you know, the, what do you call, I forget what you call it, the baldachin. Okay, same thing. And then we have, it looks to be two crosses, almost like two crosses here. And then Jesus, as you go up, you see Jesus, and then I'm not sure who this is supposed to be. And it looks like a bell here. Okay, it looks like a bell. And then you've got the sun. So I'm sure it says a lot here that I probably, you know, I'm pretty ignorant about. But I just wanted to show you that there were some similarities with Peter's Cathedral and Mary Magdalene's Basilica. Here I believe it's at the South Portal. They call it the Portal. They themselves do that. And here you, which one is it? Is it the Virgin Mary or is it Mary Magdalene? Because you see, it has that crowning on top. It's got that baldachin, okay, this here. And then she's wearing a crown, right? So Mary Magdalene is not wearing a crown. They put the crown on the Virgin Mary, do they not? So I go down and I'm looking at the animal and I have no idea what kind of animal this is. You know, at first I thought it was actually a sheep that she was on, but no, you know. But again, she's wearing a crown, but this here symbolizes Mary Magdalene. So again, they've got the two Marys right here. So now you're inside here. You're inside Peter's cathedral in Worm, Germany. And really, it speaks volumes. Again, you can look at it yourself and discern. And there's the sun with the dove, you know, and then you have the pyramid with the dot in the middle of the pyramid in the sun within the circle here. And it looks to be like two birds on either side. Here, to me, it looks like a snake, and then out of the eyes coming out of that snake, you've got like a worm or vipers or that sort of thing. It's crowned. It's a crowned snake. And it does look like a beast here wearing black sunglasses here. But again, you know, I'm not trying to poke fun here because I take this very serious. So again, this is what I am seeing. Now, maybe you're not going to see it. That's fine, you know. We have the skull, which we know here is Mary Magdalene. And we also have the carnival, which is, you know, the meaning of the baldachin, okay, and the Jubilee. So again, this is in Peter's Cathedral. I mean, I couldn't believe it when I asked the question, what kind, you know, does worm connect, any connection with Peter? And then I was brought here. You know. Yeah, so there's the crown. Now the snake. And it's coming out of the eyes here. And then this one has horns, like a deer horns. Blackened eyes. So here's a little door here, okay, and this is what it looks like. And again, you know, your water tap, and it was to wash the floors and, you know, to keep it clean, keep it easier. It was easier to maintain the floors. But here, these small doors and the water sources, okay, these small doors and the water sources, they found in several places in the Capitol building. Okay, they stood ready to provide water to prevent any future fire from spreading, but they also ensured the muddy track in the Washington dirt streets and footpaths. Okay, so it was, like I said, to clean the floors and such, but again, it's the metaphor here, it's the water. And then you see this, you know, right here. Why would this be in the church? You know, the little door. So there's something there. I think anyway. There's something there. One more thing real quick. Do you remember when Jonathan Kleck made a video that he was told it was time to close the door? Do you remember that? There's a video out there. I know there is. And he was telling everybody that it was time to close this door, and he did. Again, this is pointing again at Jonathan Kleck. Okay, so Kleck was told to close the door because this would be a time for peace. This is what that would mean, the doors being closed, a time for peace. And Jesus said, suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth. I tell you nay, but rather division. So here's this man-made god, this Roman god. The worship of Janus traditionally dated back to the Romulus and a period even before the actual foundation of the city of Rome. There were many Janus ceremonial gateways in Rome. There were usually freestanding structures that were used for symbology, auspicious entrances or exits. The particular superstition was attached to the departure of a Rome army, for which they were lucky and unlucky, was to march through the Janus. The most famous Janus in Rome was the Janus Geminius, which was actually a shrine of Janus on the north side of the Forum. It was a simple rectangular bronze structure with the double doors at each end. Traditionally, the doors of this shrine were left open in a time of war and were kept closed when Rome was at peace. And he did this, and he claims this as peace. According to the Roman historians, the gates were closed only twice in all the long periods between, okay, such and such here. Okay. Some scholars regard Janus as the god of all beginnings and believe that his association with the doorways is derivative. He was invoked as the first of any gods in a regular liturgies or something like that, the beginning of the day, month, and year. So date setting. Okay, so the month of January is the name for him, okay? And his festival took place on January 9th, which I think is very important because it follows not the Hebrew Bible, not the King James, but it follows the Talmud. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I just really had to put that in there. Okay. And there's the little door. White House to the church, or the church to the White House. But we are sure that the judgment of God is according to truth against him which commit such things. The Lord is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. No fear, be love, and give hope. Thank you, Jesus.